If I were talking to you a few days ago on Ash Wednesday, I'd have ashes on my forehead in the form of a cross. They were put there that day with the words, "Remember your dust, and to dust you shall return." Those words from the book of Genesis remind us that we're finite. God is the source of our life, also source of the heavens and the earth. We have a few years, God's gift. The world also has its time, and then the gift comes to an end. Then we look for a further gift, a new life, a new creation that God promises through His Son, Jesus Christ. Ashes on Ash Wednesday symbolize the dusty earth, the desert, described in the second creation account from the book of Genesis. God made the desert fruitful, and we human beings have a privileged place in the world that God creates. We have something to do here on earth. We're empowered, but we're not all powerful. We're human beings, not God. We have to use our power like God, who cares for the earth with love and concern. We have to respect God's dominion over us and all things. So when Jesus came into this world, He took our human nature, born of the Virgin Mary. He shared our joys and sorrows. He also experienced the great human temptations we experience. Now, those temptations are described symbolically in the story of Jesus in the desert that we read today. Matthew's Gospel describes 3 temptations Jesus faced in His life. The first temptation, Jesus is hungry and thirsty, alone, vulnerable, human like us. And Satan approaches and says, "If you are God's Son, turn these stones into bread." Now just think about that for a moment. Suppose we were in a desert 40 days without food and water. Wouldn't it be wonderful to snap your finger and turn the stones into bread? Wouldn't it be wonderful if all life was like that? Just snap your finger and it's done. But life isn't just snapping your finger, is it? We need a lot of patience in life, a lot of patience, especially when life gets hard and when hard things have to be done and when things don't work out. And even if they do, we get tired facing life, tired even of doing good. Did Jesus face life like that? Think about the way the Gospels describe Him in His ministry, the demands people made on Him. The blind man shouting from the roadside, the paralytic lowered from the roof, the woman pleading for her daughter, the crowd constantly pressing their cares on Him. Think about the rejections He faced, even from His own disciples, the injustice He faced at the end when they nailed Him to the cross. Living means bearing your cross, Jesus said. The other temptations described in Matthew's Gospel are similar in some way to the first. "I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world," Satan says from a high mountain. We're tempted to want everything. "Throw yourself down from the temple and let the angels bear you up." We're tempted to want God's power over life and death. Jesus' answer is always the same. "You shall not tempt the Lord your God." And He prays there, and later in the garden, "Lead us not into temptation." So we pray with Him to keep us strong when we're tested. Lent begins with this Gospel to remind us that we're human. We face temptation, but we're not alone in our life and our temptations. Jesus, the Son of God, who was tempted in the desert and overcame temptations, is with us.